Hi everyone, my name is Eric and today I will be reviewing the UDI001 Venom. I'll be showing you guys how this thing runs in the water, and then I'll also be going over the boat near the end of the video. If you'd like to pick one of these up, I included a link in the description below. And make sure to subscribe to keep up to date with my future reviews. Thanks guys. So once this thing planes up above the water, it really starts going. So this is about half speed. If you guys want to conserve your battery, and you know, the boat will probably last around 8 minutes if you're going around half speed, which is still pretty fast. Or if you want to go blazing at full speed, you're probably going to get battery times around maybe 6 minutes. And it's kind of hard to tell, but if you look on the side of the boat, you actually see the water coming out the side, which means that the cooling system is working. There's that little drainage plug that's going to pick up water from underneath the boat, wrap it around the motor to keep it nice and cool. Really nice proportional speed and steering. So this is great. So if you do have a swimming pool, and if you don't have a lot of space to run around, you can get this thing really nice and slow. Slow speeds, fast speeds, handles really nice. And then on the controller, you do have the digital trim, so you don't have to bring it to shore every time if it's out of trim. This thing handles nice. Thing's very stable, and even if you do flip it upside down, this thing has an auto correct. So I'm gonna bring it in and see if I can flip it around. Right now the lake's pretty calm. Okay, so I'm gonna toss it in just kind of upside down. There it goes. Takes a little bit, but it gets going. And if you guys did find the video helpful, I always appreciate those thumbs up. All right, let's get into it. Okay, I'm going to show you also just a quick comparison on a couple other boats that I also reviewed. If you guys want to check out my other reviews on a couple more boats, I put links to the other ones in the description down below. This is the FT009. It is quite a bit bigger, and it does not have some of the main differences. You know, it doesn't have your fins on the side. It's probably a little bit slower as far as the compartment goes. It's pretty well sealed on this one, and you do have a larger motor, but as far as speed goes, I would say that the UDI is a little bit faster. And as far as price goes, this one is about $10 more. So a little bit smaller than that one is the recoil. This is kind of a medium size compared to this one. Still a little bit bigger, but if you look, look at the back, you know, it's still a little bit bigger, but this is definitely a small boat compared to most. So this one, you actually have a brushless motor. You do have a lot bigger, better battery. But as far as the battery life goes, this one's going to be the shortest, but by far this one's going to be the fastest. And this one is going to run you over $100. So this is definitely going to be more of a hobby grade, whereas this one's going to be more of a toy grade for like kids and maybe a pool. The recoil could go in a pool, but you know, it's just way too fast. So I definitely recommend like the recoil for like a lake. So the size of the UDI, it's just over 11 inches. I would say it's about 11 and a half. And that's actually the hull of the boat. It does come with an extra propeller that you can screw onto the shaft back here. And then you have your two tabs right here, which kind of work like the tabs on a surfboard. What happens is when your boat is turning, it's going to, you'll notice it'll kind of tilt at a 45-degree angle, and that fin is going to be sticking down in the water, and that's just going to really help it track really nice and turn instead of like slipping all over the place. So these fins really do a good job. Usually these are only found on really high-end boats or more expensive boats, so it's kind of cool that they put that feature on a little toy boat like this one. And then you also have your water pickup. You have this little notch down here that's going to shove water into the hull. And then what's really nice is it's going to put water through this little tube, wrap around the motor, and then it shoots out the side. And that's going to really ensure that your motor lasts a long time. You definitely want to dry out the hull every time after you run this boat. I did see some reviews about, you know, the electronics smoking or this thing shorting out. And I'm pretty sure that's because when people run it, they don't dry it out every single time. Now, I've run mine a couple times, and you know, every time I run it, I just get a paper towel in there and just get all the water out, and it's been fine for me. Now, you can run this thing in salt water, but you do want to make sure that you run some fresh water through it just to clean it off, because salt water is very corrosive, and if it gets on any of these metal connectors, or if it sits inside this cooling coil, it's going to corrode it pretty quick. So the speeds are pretty good. They definitely don't overestimate the speed. They do claim that this goes 15 miles per hour, and I would definitely say that it goes that speed. It's really nice on the controller. You do have a low battery warning. So when the battery starts running low, instead of the boat getting stuck out in the middle of the lake, this will start beeping and letting you know to bring it back in. And this thing does have a self-righting feature. So what that means is, you know, if you do flip it over, you're riding this on a rough day, the torque from the motor should be able to flip it. Now I did notice, you know, a couple times it wasn't doing it. But if you get it going, you just rock it a couple times, you should see it flip over with no problem. And the battery that comes with it, it's a little lithium ion. It's a 600 milliamp hour. These are surprisingly pretty affordable. You can get spare ones for only around $8 a piece. And this does include a USB charger. It's kind of an interesting design. It's pretty big, but it'll charge your battery in about 2 hours. And then the drive times are about 6 to 10 minutes. It really depends on how fast you're driving this thing. This thing drives fine, slow, and it's really fun when it goes fast. But you know, if you kind of mix up your speeds, then you're going to get a longer time out of this. Whereas if you go full throttle the whole time, you might get about 6 minutes out of it. You do have some trim, so you can trim while it's in the water and while it's running, which is nice. You don't have to bring it back to shore and adjust the trim inside the boat. Another thing is it does have a safety feature on it. There's this little metal tab that when this thing senses water, that's when it will actually turn on. So a lot of people, when they first get this, they might be confused because, you turn on the remote and the boat's not doing anything. But once you put it in the water, you'll see the boat bind with the transmitter and it's ready to go. That's my review. Please let me know if you guys have any questions, and make sure to subscribe to keep up to date with my future reviews. Thanks, guys.